Finding out your child will one day lose the ability to walk is a nightmare for any parent, but for one North Shore family, it is a reality. Rob Krieger shares their story and how a new treatment is giving them hope for healing.
At 3 years old, Ariana Marcel appears vibrant, wound tight with the aspirations of a ballerina, like any little girl her age. But twirling on her toes would likely never be in the cards. Her mother, Marilyn Marcel, always knew her daughter was special, but she never imagined she'd be set on a path that would rob her of her strength.
It took probably altogether about a year and a half from when I first suspected something before she was diagnosed with SMA.
3 little letters that would change her daughter's life forever.
It's very scary, especially when you start learning about this disease you never heard about.
We met her when she was about 3. She was walking, but she was having difficulty walking.
Dr. Joaquin Wong, a staff physician and pediatric neurologist at Children's Hospital, knew Ariana had some promise. Diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy type 3, she was far off from a death sentence. Once all but certain for patients with type 1 who would rarely survive past 2 years old, or type 2 patients who typically never walk. Ariana still had mobility, and like most SMA patients, an active wit and uncanny charm.
The great majority, mentally they're fine. So they're confined to a wheelchair, but they can talk to you, okay? Right. They think okay, like a normal person.
Can I have my test?
Mentally, Ariana is sharp, now a freshman at Covington High School, where she's made several friends. But the disease would strip her of the things she loved in her youth, like riding horses or just playing like a normal kid. As her childhood slowly slipped away, her ability to walk did too, and life in a wheelchair became the only option.
Because it happened so gradually, like I didn't notice, so it didn't really hurt me that much, but then like I see kids doing stuff that I used to do, and so that's when I'm like, man, I miss that, but I really don't remember it very much anymore.
Marilyn Marcel was determined to fix her daughter, but eventually she came to terms there was very little she could do. As doctors explained, there was no real treatment available. Her daughter Ariana would gradually lose her ability to walk as the muscles around her spine began to grow weaker and eventually die.
As a mom, you're supposed to be able to go to the pharmacy and get medicine and the store and get soup, and supposed to kiss things and make them better. It's kind of our superpowers, making our kids better, and I couldn't do that.
Through different therapies and attempts at treatment, Ariana's diagnosis led her naturally to MDA, the Muscular Dystrophy Association. The group spends $75,000 a day on research and covers 43 different types of muscular diseases under its umbrella. It helped to fund $18 million in grants last year alone, and it's where Ariana met Chase Miller, her mentor and a fellow MD patient who spearheads the local organization's fundraising efforts. It was through MDA that Ariana learned about its annual camp that gave her an escape from the disease once a year.
It's this one day out of the week where these kids can feel like a normal kid that doesn't have this disease. They see other kids in wheelchairs, they see other kids that are not in wheelchairs, but at the end of the day, there's like a camaraderie because they know what it's like to have this.
Everybody there, they're so funny. They don't treat you like you're anybody like different. I love camp.
Ariana loved camp so much, she wanted to make a real difference for her MDA friends and family, and they made her wish come true, seating her right on the lap of a saint.
Make a muscle, Reggie.
And help me make a difference for MDA.
Once they saw her working with Reggie and how everything went, they asked her about being an ambassador, and that was it.
For the better part of the last decade, Ariana has been a voice for patients like her. But last year, she first learned about what doctors call a groundbreaking new drug, Spinraza. Her life with SMA would take a drastic turn.
I was just making sure I didn't set myself up for something that wasn't real. No, like I'm ecstatic about it because I'm seeing improvement. So it's like, well, now it is real and it is happening.
They call it the game changer. Like you see at the big games like Super Bowl or World Series, a game changer. And I think that's an appropriate term to use. It's giving these kids hope.
A breakthrough in the field unlike any before. But how does it work? A healthy person has 2 genes that make proteins you need to fuel motor neurons that make your muscles work, SMN1 and SMN2. But in patients with SMA, that first gene is damaged or not working properly, so they have to rely on the second gene, which isn't as effective as that first gene and doesn't produce enough protein to keep the motor neurons alive. And when those motor neurons die, muscles atrophy or waste away. That's what was happening to Ariana. But then Spinraza came into play. The treatment administered through a spinal tap tricks that second gene into making more protein, which keeps the motor neurons alive and the muscles working, giving Ariana more control of her body.
You're going to put your daughter to bed, and she moves a leg she hasn't moved on her own in 5 years. So it's like there's no words to describe what that's like, except to say that life with treatment, for the first time ever, we have hope.
She used a trimmer. She doesn't do that anymore. She can brush her own hair. She got this really cool adaptive bite.
And grab the straps, TJ.
Riding on her bike with her brother and friends, it's the kind of stuff Ariana only dreamed about a few years ago. And now she's doing it, thanks to the treatment. Discovered in part due to research funded by MDA, who are seeing massive improvements across the board. In fact, Dr. Wong says some children with type 1, the nearly always fatal diagnosis, are able to tolerate breathing without a machine while on Spinraza.
There's 3 different types of SMA. One is type 2, and you're not even supposed to be able to walk. There's an 18-month-old who is running around. We never thought that would be possible, and this 18-month-old is on Spinraza.
Are you thinking about it, or you just do it?
No, I just do it. Like one time there was a duster on the counter, and I just reached up and grabbed it, and I looked at Mom and I was like, "Did you see that?" She was like, "What?" And I did it again, and we were like, "That is so cool." Like, I do it without even thinking about it now.
Spinraza is planting the seeds of hope. As Ariana regains some of what she lost, she knows there's still a long journey, but a promising path nonetheless.
Granted, it's not a cure, but so it creates more excitement, enthusiasm. The researchers are working hard on providing a cure, and we may have a cure down the road.
But for now, that road may have a few pit stops, and those memories, locked away in the past, may one day be a little easier to remember.
I just try to remember it, because in some ways I can't remember her walking or dancing anymore. You catch yourself trying to, in a way, not get too excited, because we don't know what she's going to gain back or where this will be. But at the same time, you can't help but have faith that great things are coming.
But when you see Ariana Marcel now, you can tell those great things, they're already here. Rob Krieger, Fox 8 News.
The Muscular Dystrophy Association says 5 treatments for different types of MD were released in the last year, thanks in part to funding by MDA. If you'd like to make a donation to help find a cure for children like Ariana, go to our website, fox8live.com.